Maya, what is awesome about today's edition of your show?
Khylin Rhambo is calling in.
Oh my gosh, Khylin Rhambo, welcome! We're
Thank you
so
for
excited
having
to
me.
have you.
Lovely to be here.
Excellent. Well, Maya, girl, it's your show. Take it away.
Thanks. So first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for calling in today. I am so excited to be talking to you.
Thank you for having me. And like I said, I'm excited too, because we've been trying to do this for like a week or two. And it's been, I think this is perfect. Glad that we're finally getting to chat and talk.
Yeah. So my first question for you is, when was the moment you first knew you wanted to be an actor?
Man, that's a really good question, because I've always wanted to be kind of like those kids that saw a movie and were like, oh, that's what I want to do. And then from that moment, just went for it, and just that wasn't actually me. I didn't know what I wanted to do for a long time. Even when I was acting, I kind of started off doing it as of like an extracurricular activity. It was just one of those things that, since I have asthma, well, it's not as bad as it used to be, but when I was younger, I couldn't even like really play sports or anything like that. So I started doing like modeling for like toy boxes and just small things like that. And then I knew I wanted to be an actor, or just act in general, as far as like a life path, when I booked my first role in anything. And it was really actually not my first role that I booked. It was really the first like major role I booked, where I did a film called Ender's Game. And yeah, it was like one audition. It was honestly like God who just, because I wasn't even, it was my first big movie audition. And then I ended up booking it off of one audition, and they flew me to New Orleans, and I did it for 6 months. And I went to military camp and space camp and learned how to do stunts. And I was wearing like an astronaut suit, and it was just one of the most incredible experiences I've ever had, even almost to this day. And I was like, wow, if acting is like this, then I want to do this. So it was really like, I kind of like learned to love it. I didn't really like necessarily have a deep passion for it until that moment.
Cool. So Teen Wolf is one of my all-time favorite shows. I mean, if you can't tell.
I see in the back.
Yeah. So what was the best part of playing Mason?
Man, there was so many amazing parts to Mason. I can give you a couple answers to that. I'll keep it kind of brief with those. But the first one was the fact that Dylan Sprayberry, who was playing Liam, I've already known him before the show. So, and we were pretty good friends, like not necessarily as close as we were after the show, but definitely like I would consider him a friend of mine. So once I saw that, oh, wow, Dylan, I actually heard that Dylan was on Teen Wolf before I even had an audition. And a lot of the people in my friend group were like, wow, man, that's crazy. He's on Teen Wolf. Like, that's going to be crazy for him. And then, yeah, I booked it. And once I realized, like, holy smokes, I'm going to be working with one of my best friends and on a really cool show. That was just that alone was awesome, because I played best friends with him. So it's very looking forward to just, I don't know, it seemed really easy just to pretend to be best friends with someone you're really good friends with is not, that's a great deal. And then after that, like playing Mason, one of my favorite things about him was he's so much more sensitive than I am. He's so much more in touch with his emotions, and like he's just a really vulnerable guy. Like, and maybe not even have shown too much like in the show. There was a lot of things that he brought, like a lot of comedic things, and he was really smart. But just for me, like the essence of Mason, I felt he was just so much more like in touch with himself. He was so much more like just vulnerable and softer on the inside. And I really needed that part of myself. So I learned how to do that for myself. I learned how to be more vulnerable, because if I have to portray that character, I have to do it authentically. And so I had to get more vulnerable. I had to be more in touch with my own emotions and like my softer side. And that actually carried on with me outside of the show, because I realized that's a much better way to even live as an artist. So I really learned a lot from him. So I liked how different he was from myself. And yeah, those were my two favorite parts.
Oh, cool. So did any of the episodes ever creep you out?
Man, I think in a good way. There's this one scene, it was this one scene. Do you remember the Dread Doctors?
Yeah.
Okay, so there is this one part where I was like in the Dread Doctor lair, like under the sewers or something like that. And I had to like run away from them, and like they're calling after me. And then eventually they like slam my head down and they inject me with this thing on the back of my neck. And that scene was so one of my favorite scenes to do, because it was literally like, it wasn't even acting. Because the moment they say action, the way that the set is designed, and they just have such a realistic kind of atmosphere. Like I wasn't in a sewer at all. I was it was on a set, and just the set design was so well done that it's very easy to trick your brain that this is really happening. You really need to get away right now. And then it's like when they're slamming my head down on the concrete, I even told the actor who was one of the Dread Doctors to like, hey man, like, I mean, I'm not asking you to hurt me, but like, you don't have to like go soft. Like you can really like put my head down. And he respected that. That was something that I wanted as in the scene. And he did it for me. It didn't hurt, but it was definitely like aggressive. And I felt that. And I was like, wow, it just felt real. And once it said action, it felt real. And then once it said cut, it was back to just being pretend. But I loved that. I'm weird. I guess I liked the creepiness.
Yeah, when my mom and I were watching it, we couldn't, as it like the 5th and 6th seasons really actually really creeped me out. So we had to stop watching it at a certain point in the day. Otherwise I'd like wake up with nightmares.
And have nightmares. So, yeah.
So
I don't know why that's like, I don't know why that feels like a compliment, even though like it was too creepy for you. But like, I guess it just means that the show did its job, because that's what it was supposed to feel like.
Yeah. So what was your favorite episode?
It was I think it was a season 5 finale. Or season, I forgot. It was one of the finales. I think it was like the mid finale, like because we ended up having like 5A and then 5B. So I think it was like 5A season finale or something like that. I don't really remember necessarily, but seeing that was one of the best episodes for me to even work on, because it was so emotional. And it was so psychological. I really like those kinds of concepts. And when it finally all came together and his plan was about to work, I just really enjoyed seeing how that story played out.
Yeah. I like the psychological stuff. My mom and I both like that. So that was really interesting to see. So of all the characters you've played, have you had a favorite?
Man, that's a good question. Um, yeah, yeah. I actually, there's actually two of them. Um, the one character that I really enjoyed playing, his name was Cypress, and it was the short film that Dylan and one of my other really good friends, Daniel, wrote and directed, and they casted me as the lead. And Cypress was a younger guy who ended up losing his mother. And I really enjoy playing. I'm really good at playing lighthearted characters, like funny and lighthearted and just like those kind of energies. I'm really good at that, but I really enjoy playing characters that might be a little more on the sad side or a little more like damaged in a sense, you know, that are having issues and working through them. I really relate to that because just as a person, as a human being, I can relate to that kind of thing, like struggling and overcoming. I would love to be happy and all the time, but you know, it's good for me to play, but I like those characters where I get to kind of explore that part of myself and express the parts of myself that maybe aren't as pretty as people would call it, like maybe aren't as put together. So it's mostly the characters that are like have some sort of issue going on. So Cypress was one of them. And then it was another one that was pretty recent that I also filmed with Dylan, but it's in post-production. So it's not out anywhere yet. It's still being edited, but it's called Blown. And my character, his name was Dante. So he's not a bad guy or anything, but he's just like, he has his issues that he's going through. And I just like to play those kind of characters that are maybe like not necessarily, you know, just the put together ones.
Yeah, cool. So can you tell us anything about your upcoming projects?
Yeah. Crazy enough, I actually ended up doing that just then. Like the one short film, we actually, me, Dylan, and Daniel won the LA Film Awards for it. It's not necessarily out in the public yet, but it was going through the short film circuits, and it won a few times, which is awesome. It's called Flower Boy. And then the other one, which is I mentioned it briefly, is called Blown Up. That one is still very, very in the early stages of production. So that one, I don't know when that's coming out. And then definitely the Teen Wolf movie. We're all really excited for when that news came, but it's very interesting because it's not like one of those things where it's like we even have a date yet. Not even Dylan, none of the people that I work with know when that's happening. They just know that it's being written and it's going to happen. So I know that I'm in it, and I know that Dylan's in it, and that's all I need to know. I'm just waiting for that one too.
Cool. Yeah, I'm so excited about the movie.
Yeah, me too.
I was so excited when that was announced.
Same.
So if you had to choose a song to wake up to every morning, what song would it be?
That's such a good question. High five to you. I love that question.
Thank you.
Alrighty. It's called 363, like the numbers. It's the number 363, the letter N. The letter N is in Nancy, and then 63 after the letter N. So 363 N63. And it's by this guy's name is King, King, Cruel, Krule. All it is a guitar. And there's no lyrics. It's just an instrumental. But I don't know why. I've listened to that song. I can't even count. It's like every time I'm really feeling any kind of happy feeling, any kind of, even if I'm sad, if whatever, I will play that song to just, it's like a home in my soul. I don't know how else to explain it.
I think she's still there, but she might have had to step away real quickly. So thank you for sharing that awesome song with us. We'll have to definitely look that up. And
Yes.
I'm going to give her a minute or so to come back. I know one question she always finishes her interviews with is this. Who do you see as a real life, who do you consider to be a real life superhero?
Oh, man, it's got to be probably my favorite artist. His name is Kid Cudi.
Oh, cool.
I see him as a real life superhero because he was the first artist that was okay with saying that he was sad, or that, you know, life can be a little tough sometimes, but that's okay. And like, we're all going to get through it, because a lot of the artists in his field were more so saying how awesome they were. And he was one of the first to say like, yeah, I'm awesome, but I also like have some pain. But he wasn't also saying that life is terrible. He was just speaking on just real things that I could relate to. And it was actually inspiring, rather than like made me feel like, oh man, and just made me feel more sad. If I was sad and I played one of his sad songs, it didn't make me more sad. It made me actually have like hope. So I think anyone who does that, but that's just the first name in my head was Kid Cudi.
No, that's a great example. I think it's very important, especially for kids and teenagers, young adults, to see celebrities and artists and that sort of thing as real people, and that they too have emotions, and that they have to learn and work through how to deal with them. So that's a great example. Well,
exactly. I agree with you.
Thank you so much for spending so much time with us. And Maya has a weekly show here, and she, of course, has been as she was watching Teen Wolf, she of course was giving us all the updates, even though I know it's been over for a while, but she was always telling us about it. And now I'm sure she'll keep us updated as to when the movie comes out, and when we can see, where else we can see you, and when all your other projects come out. So we'll look forward to those updates from her. So thank you so much for spending so much time with us today.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. Tell Maya I said she's amazing, and I'm just so thankful to be able to just talk with her and share energy with her. And I think she's an awesome human being. I
sure will. And thanks for sharing that with all of us here at Children's Hospital Colorado. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks
care. For having me. You guys are amazing.
You're awesome. See ya. Bye.
Bye.